He never imagined that after being drafted into the German army and traveling thousands of miles to the battlefield, he would find that the German forces were already collapsing. Without firing a single shot, he was thrown into a panicked retreat. He ran for his life through the woods while Soviet troops behind him fired round after round of deadly bullets. Exhausted to the point of collapse, he stumbled and fell in a panic. At that moment, Gert completely lost hope. Just when he thought he'd never make it home alive, he saw a group of retreating German soldiers moving along the edge of the forest. The sight of them gave him new strength. He sprinted desperately toward their convoy. But because everyone was fleeing for their lives, the trucks didn't stop to let him on. Gert and two other stragglers ran frantically behind the vehicles until the next moment. Barely surviving an explosion, Gert picked himself up and gave one last desperate sprint toward the convoy. The soldiers on board saw his pitiful struggle and, moved by pity, shouted for the driver to slow down. Finally, Gert managed to climb aboard, clinging to his last chance at survival. But once on the truck, he realized it wasn't just German soldiers inside. There were also two Soviet female soldiers and a Soviet civilian woman. Even though he had made it onto the convoy, his road to retreat was far from safe. Soviet artillery pounded them relentlessly, forcing the convoy to move in fits and starts. Along the way, Gert saw countless dead German soldiers and the wreckage of destroyed military vehicles. After who knows how long, they finally escaped the heaviest bombardment. But then the driver turned to the lieutenant riding shotgun and admitted that in their rush to flee, the truck hadn't been refueled. They were about to run out of gas. Before the words were even finished, the truck rolled to a stop. The furious lieutenant had no choice but to reluctantly order everyone out. They were in the wilderness. No villages, no towns, nowhere to find fuel. Worse, the Soviets could appear at any moment. The lieutenant ordered them to abandon the truck and continue on foot. Gert eventually learned that the Soviet woman was the lieutenant's lover. Even though the German army was in full retreat, she followed him without hesitation, sharing in this life-or-death escape. Their love had defied national hatred and the chains of war, but in such a turbulent era, it was destined for no perfect ending. As for the two Soviet female soldiers, they were prisoners the lieutenant had captured by chance. Marching with captives was a burden, especially during a rout. He had considered executing them on the spot, but since they were medics who could tend to the wounded, he decided to keep them alive. With the two female medics and the Soviet lover in the group, the retreat became even more unpredictable. And so Gert, with this complicated little unit, set off on a long and grueling journey home.